Hello everyone and welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster series, the series where I showcase a few games that I played recently in my journey to becoming a Grandmaster. Today I have 3 games to showcase, and they're pretty interesting games. I'd say I have a few weaknesses to work on, but until then, the games might be a bit crazy, so let's get into it. Starts off with the London system. d4, d5, bishop f4, knight c6, e3, classic London Chigorin type variation. The c4 London, you play c4, you go after, well, sometimes you trade and play rook c1 and go after this pawn, or you might play against the weak d5 pawn. But yeah, this variation. Here I play b3, it's not the best move, but I didn't know. Well, I forgot the theory for this line. So I play the move queen b3, putting pressure on b7 and putting pressure on the d5 pawn. He plays rook b8 defending, which I thought was weird. And then I play knight f3, developing, bishop d6, contesting my dark square bishop. I play c takes d5, e takes d5. The reason why you don't take with, well, another move to play is to take with the knight. This is also a good move. After bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, and rook c1, you play against the c7 and the b7 pawn with your rooks and your queen. I think at some point you might actually jump in, and if let's say you have like 2 rooks stacked up, and if he takes, you have a free pawn. So there's things like that. After e takes d5, which happened in the game, I take his bishop, queen takes, and now knight b5 attacking the queen, the pawn, and the other pawn. The a7 pawn, the c7 pawn, and the d6 queen. And this makes him want to trade queens early on with queen b4 check. After queen b4, queen takes b4, knight takes b4, there's a fork being threatened. So I play king d2. King e2 is better, it avoids knight e4 check, as we will see, but d2 is kinda fine still. Castles, g3. This is a bit dubious because the better move was knight c3, putting pressure on this pawn. Maybe at some point rook c1, a3 booting the knight, putting pressure on the c7 pawn. And maybe even rook c5 attacking the weak pawn. A lot of possibilities here. But I play g3 with the idea of going after this weak d5 pawn with the fianchettoed bishop. So I play g3, a bit dubious, but it's still kinda fine, it's still a draw. Knight e4 check, the reason why king e2 is slightly better. Now bishop g4, attacking the knight, bishop g2 defending and potentially threatening the d5 pawn in the future. a6 is played, booting my knight, and I play knight c3. Knight takes c7 is also playable. The engine gives rook b to c8, rook h to c1, and then you play, then black plays f5, h3, kind of forcing a trade. Well, I mean booting the bishop back, and then you play knight e6 to get the knight in, and then knight takes a2 with the little trick. If you take, you lose the game. So you have to take this way, and then you take the knight, but the rook gets the back rank as compensation. But this line actually leads to a perpetual check with e1, because if you take this pawn with the rook or the knight, black is actually losing. Though I will not get too deep into this analysis, but it's actually a very interesting line. So after a6, knight c3, c5 is played, trying to open up the center where my king is, which is kind of... Is it a good move? Yeah, it's kind of a dubious move. I play a3, not punishing it. a3 is a bad move, as we will see in a bit, but the best move was actually d takes c5. This makes the d5 pawn weaker, and it kind of relieves the pressure on the king. And after knight takes c5, rook h to d1, putting more pressure on this weak d5 pawn. d4 trying to liquidate it. Rook takes d4, attacking the knight and the bishop with the fork. So you trade and liquidate the weak bishop by taking with check. Bishop takes f3. Knight c2. Rook d5. Knight takes a1, and then you take the knight back. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding weird this video or talking weird this video. I realized that when I make chess videos, I sometimes get nervous, and I'm trying my best not to yell like I did last video, because I kind of yelled for like 30 minutes and I kind of lost my voice. So I'm trying my best not to get so loud. But back to the game. So a3 bad move was played, and my opponent plays a bad move back. He's trying to put pressure, more pressure here. But instead he should have played c takes d4 immediately, because after a takes b4, d takes c3, b takes c3, he gets a pawn with check, and black's a pawn up, and he's better here. But after knight c6 check, h3. Oh, I play h3. I thought h3 was h6 for a second. Okay, so bishop takes, and now this is good for white because I have pressure here on this weak pawn. If I ever take with the knight, this will be so weak for black. But yeah, after bishop takes, my opponent plays a dubious move, knight takes c3 check, because this allows my bishop to have more pressure on this diagonal. So instead of knight c3, dubious move, the best move was actually to play c takes d4 again, knight takes c4, d takes c4, bishop takes c4, rook f e8 attacking the bishop, f3 defending, and equal material. This diagonal is kind of weak for black, and it should be a draw. If black does not take this pawn, white will probably make a passed pawn in the future, causing problems. But yeah, that's what I think about this position. Okay, back to the game. Knight takes c3 is dubious, because after b takes c3, c takes d4, another dubious move. He was not supposed to take. C takes d4, now d5 is a permanent weakness. Now rook f to e8, setting up a trap. I play king d3, and the trap is, if you play bishop takes d5 bad move, the bishop can play knight takes d4 check, king d3, and yeah, basically black wins the pawn back and it's equal, and black is fine. Okay, so I play king d3, getting away from the trap with knight takes d4. He plays b5, which is a bad move because it hangs the d5 pawn. So bishop takes d5, knight e7, bishop e4, corralling the knight because the knight has nowhere to go. So it's kind of dead at this game. So he plays a5, trying to make a passed pawn, rook a b1, trying to attack that passed pawn that's about to be created. In b4, a takes b4, a takes b4. And here I wanted to double up on the b file, but the best move was to take the open c file because the b pawn is not a threat. For example, rook hc1 was the best move. I think maybe because rook c7 traps the knight, kinda, but it's already being stopped, so there's no point. Yeah, rook c7 is the best move. I'm looking at the engine. after whatever black does next. Rook b3 is dubious. Again, my idea of doubling up was not the best, because this b-pawn is not a threat. The king could just walk in front of it and blockade it. The bishop's looking at the square. I can just pile up on this side of the board instead, but rook b3 is dubious. Rook e to c8 trying to take the c file actually allows me to double up for free on the pawn. My opponent plays knight c6. I don't know why. I didn't know why in the game, because this is a threat and this does nothing after bishop takes, rook takes, and rook takes b4. And instead of trading off and trying to win an endgame 2 pawns down, which is usually losing for the rook, especially if there's a passer, he decides to keep both rooks on the board to create problems. But the problem with this is that I have rook b8, making sure this rook never moves, otherwise, well, he loses the game. So he plays rook c3 check, king e4, no more checks by black, otherwise he loses the game. G6 to get his king out of the checks and checkmate. So I just take his rook, simplify the endgame, and here I play the dubious move, rook b7. It's dubious because it kinda loses slower. I mean, it kinda wins slower than the best move. But the point of this is to take the 7th rank, potentially walk my king up and cause problems. But the fastest move, or the best move, is d5, pushing the pawn up the board. But I play rook b7 instead, after a 5 check, allowing my king to walk in for free with tempo, and also making the h7 pawn weak. After rook c2, I push the pawn. Rook takes f2, I push the pawn. f3, I push the pawn. And he allows me to threaten checkmate for free by taking e3. Now after rook d3, it's checkmate in 1. And I win the game. Okay, the next game is a weird one. My opponent kind of played a England gambit, but not really. And I was hoping he would play the England gambit, because I like to win every single time my opponent plays it. So d4, e5, d takes, and instead of the normal... Hold on, we're not there yet. Yeah, instead of the normal England gambit, he plays d6, which is kind of a gambit. A different gambit, because if I take, he gets development. So what I should do, instead of taking and giving him free development, is to just develop my own pieces. So after knight c6, knight f3, knight c6, attacking the pawn. And here I was debating g5 or bishop f4. I ultimately chose bishop f4. I learned after the game g5 was the best move. For example, let's say he plays f6, you just take. Oh wait. Yeah, you just take. And after this in the game, I was all like, what else do I do here? There's no crazy moves, but I could just develop even more. I have a pin. I'm up a pawn. He's kind of white right now. He is up one more in development, but I have an extra pawn, so it's fine. So after I play bishop f4, bishop g4, and here, since I forgot that the e5 pawn is hanging kinda after the pin, I play the bad move e3, and this allows him to take the pawn for free. I should have played e takes d6, liquidating the weakness, which is this pawn. And if he plays something like queen f6, d7 check, forcing the bishop back. And white is better. I play e3 bad move, but my opponent plays a bad move as well. Knight takes e5. He should have played pawn takes, and then queen takes d8, rook takes d8, taking the d file. And bishop g3, getting out of the attack. After knight takes e5, which is a blunder, black actually has checkmate. And let's say you play bishop takes e5, knight takes, and you cannot take the knight back because of checkmate, so you have to defend. But after check, takes, your position's kinda bad here. You're also down a piece, so you should be losing. But he plays knight takes e5, bishop e2, defending, and if he were to take my knight here, I would have a beautiful bishop staring at this diagonal. And he plays the bad move and knight takes f3. This allows bishop takes, and this time it's my queen staring at this diagonal. And he plays queen f6, which hangs the b7 pawn, but I did not see that for some reason. I think I forgot, but I did not play this move. I played knight c3, which is a bad move, and he castles long, which is the best move. I should also castle long, because this allows me to take the d file way easier. But I short castle instead, and g5 is played, which is a bad move. I guess he wanted to dislodge my bishop and try to trap it, but that's too slow. So I play knight e4, attacking his queen and his pawn, and he has to lose one of them. So he plays queen f5, losing his pawn, bishop h6, knight e4, which is dubious. I was actually debating whether to play e4 and boot out the queen, but after queen g6, my calculation was not that great and I didn't see a way forward or anything. I also was debating whether to play g4, but I did not like opening up my king in this position, so I just play a safe move, which is not the best. It retreats the knight. Asking for a trade, I kinda wanted him to trade, because these two pawns were weak, and I was already up a pawn, so I knew I would be winning if he did trade. The best move is actually to trade. For example, bishop takes, queen takes. He can walk back or he can trade, but he will be lost in the long run. But instead of that, the opponent plays d5, which is another bad move. It allows my knight to attack his queen. Queen g6, bishop e5. I wanted to induce the weakening move f6, because that makes his knight kinda harder to develop. So f6 is played. I played d4, attacking the a7 pawn, while also attacking the f6 pawn and pinning the rook. And after bishop g5, I was debating knight f5 or knight h5. And for some reason I chose knight h5, attacking this pawn. The best move was actually knight f5, making sure this knight never gets into the game. But I chose not the best move, but it still wins. After rook d6 defending, which is a mistake. And after he played this move, for some reason my mind kept telling me to play h4, but after bishop takes, I didn't see the point. And then when I was analyzing this game, I was like, wait a minute, so you're telling me if I calculated one move further, I would have won a free bishop. And now one of my goals when I play is to try to calculate further when I see a dead end line, a line that looks like a dead end, because I keep missing things like this. And you will see in the next video that I still need to calculate even further in dead end lines, because that's one of my biggest weaknesses that I keep missing. After rook d6, I play a4, starting a queenside attack. Queen takes c2, and again h4 is the best, but I didn't play it. I played this move too quickly too. I mean, it does put pressure on this pawn, but I mean h4, you know. So I play rook c1 very quickly, trying to start an attack on his queen side. He goes queen e4, trying to trade. I play queen e2, denying the trade, trying to go after his king. You could trade queens here. A sample line runs d takes e4, rook c5, setting up a little trap, as you'll see, knight h6. Then you sacrifice the rook, but then your opponent sacrifices his rook. And the reason you don't take f takes g5 here is because you take his other rook. So instead, After rook takes d4, and knight takes f6, rook d2 attacking the weak pawn, white should still be better and winning. After queen e4 is played, I play queen e2, knight e7, knight g3, dubious move. The best move was f4, attacking the bishop, bishop h6, and then because his bishop is gone, you take the f6 pawn. And after knight g3, dubious move, queen g6, and now b4, which is it's not the best move. It's actually bishop takes a7, but I didn't play it because I thought my bishop would be trapped. But after b6, if I calculated one more move further, a5, and the bishop is not in any danger. So b4, dubious move, rook g8, a5, going after the queen, knight c6, attacking my bishop and the pawn. So I protect the bishop while attacking his rook to gain a free tempo. Rook e6, and now I play b5, attacking his knight away from the defense of the king. And he plays d4, trying to counterattack, I guess. But after b takes c6, d takes e3, takes with check, king b8. I play bishop e3. The best move was queen c4 with this skewer. And you also set up an attack on the c7 pawn. But I play bishop takes e3, rook g to e8, trying to start something here. But that's too slow, as I'm threatening checkmate. So he has to defend. And here, I sacrifice my bishop. Bishop takes a7 check. King takes a7. I play c5, best move. And I have 1 minute left, so I will make some mistakes later on, as you will see. But king takes b7, a6 check, mate in 9. Rook takes a6, mate in 6. And here, since I have 1 minute left, I made a mistake, queen d5. Here, instead of queen d5, I should have played rook takes a6. It's mate in 5. And then f5. Somehow, for some reason, opening up the queen for a defense. If king were to take a6, it's checkmate in a few moves. And so he has to play f5, queen b5. This will not save him if this line actually happened. But queen b6, rook takes, pawn takes, and then rook c6 check, king a7, rook a1, king b8, checkmate. But I had 1 minute left on the clock. Try to make a guess what you think will happen since I'm low on time. I play queen d5, c6, and here I showcase a possible danger of time trouble, and that is, after rook takes a6, I blundered my queen. But after a few minutes of thinking, my opponent plays king takes a6, and I don't know why he played this move. It was either because I blundered a win, and he probably thought he did not deserve the win, or he actually genuinely blundered, or some other reason. But after king takes a6, queen takes c6, king a5, rook c5 check, king b4, rook b5, and I ladder made him. And that is the end of game 2. Okay, so this is the game that got me into 1590 elo. It's a short game, but I actually lost 30 elo after this match, because I was playing a friend who was rated 500 elo, and I got so cocky and I did not take the game seriously that I blundered my queen, and I learned a valuable lesson about being cocky, because it turned out the match was actually rated, and because the match was rated, I lost 30 elo. That is why in the next video I do not start out 1600 elo after this match. But this match ended in a way I did not expect. And it ended very quickly, so e4. Where's e4? e4. Wait, oh, the board is not flipped. Okay, so e4, c6, Caro-Kann stuff. This is the mainline Caro-Kann we got into. I was surprised he knew theory. So h4, h6. I personally forgot all the theory of my openings, or 90% of them. But I still know a bit of the Caro theory, so knight f3. And here I play e6 because I would like to say I played this move to throw him off of theory, which actually threw him off of theory a little bit. But I played this move because I forgot he had to play knight d7 to stop knight e5. I had to play knight d7 first, but instead I played e6. And here my opponent, he probably only knew mainline Caro-Kann theory, so he kept going with the Caro-Kann theory. A better move was knight e5, attacking the bishop, forcing it back, and bishop d3 takes, and knight d7. This line is kinda like the main line, but the difference is I allowed a knight e5, so now I have to battle him for the square and kinda take. So that's the difference between the mainline Caro and whatever line that was, but bishop d3, continuing the main line usually. You play bishop d3 after h5 and bishop h7, but he played bishop d3 very early. So I take, because you're supposed to take when he does that, because what other diagonal will the bishop go to? It's forced. Queen takes d3, knight d7, now I stop knight e5, and here my opponent plays bishop f4, taking away d6 from my bishop. Because if I had d6, it would be a strong diagonal for the Caro-Kann player. So because my mind is focused on Caro-Kann theory, I play queen a5 check, which is an idea in the mainline Caro-Kann. For example, the idea of it is bishop d2, bishop b4, double attacking, and then you play c3, and then you drop your bishop back, and then you play c4, then you drop your queen back, and you go further into the mainline theory, but I'm not going to get into it. Here you could also play e7, then the same thing, and castle after this, and do whatever. But my opponent plays c3, immediately, not trying to entertain this idea, and now my queen has control over this rank here, which is very good. I play knight g to f6, developing, he castles. Bishop e7, developing, getting ready to castle as well. Knight e5, he tries to battle me. So knight takes e5, bishop takes e5. And here I would like his bishop to take my knight so I can attack this pawn and attack this diagonal and start a minority attack. But minority attack, I castle. And here he plays a3 for some reason. I guess he wants to move his rook. But this just makes another weakness. And if he were to ever move this at some point, this is a weakness. So he kind of set himself up for some attacks later on. So I play knight d7, attacking his bishop, trying to attack this pawn, maybe get my queen in the attack somehow. A better move was actually knight g4, attacking the bishop this way. But after knight d7, he plays rook f to e1. And here he just hangs his pawn, he just hangs a pawn. But for some reason I did not see that, or maybe I did, and maybe I found a better move, but the next move was not the best move. Taking the pawn was the best move. But I play rook a d8, threatening a trap. And my opponent was so focused on attacking my king that he fell right into my trap. He did not see that I calculated knight takes e5, rook takes e5, and I sacrifice my queen, and he resigns the game. Well, that's it for today. This video should have came out earlier. I actually played these games a couple of days ago, or maybe 4 days ago, but I did not make a video on it because my voice died. But the 3 games I recently played will hopefully come out tomorrow, and those games are very interesting as well. Over time I will get better. There's usually a thing that happens when I do take breaks from the game where I start off bad and then like after a couple of weeks I play very good and no blunders. But let's see, let's hope I am able to do that again. But yeah, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a nice day and peace out.